Hello and welcome to Selah, Time to Pause. So what? And hello, Gracie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Samuel. Yeah, I'm all right. Got a
Good to.
cup of tea.
Oh, excellent.
It's hot. It's not done like the Americans do it in warm water. It's done with boiling water.
Quite right. Quite right.
But yeah, I'm good.
Good. It's always good to chat to you in these. So what? You got a joke for us?
I do have a joke. Well, yeah, it's not kind of on the theme. It's kind of general theme,
Okay.
right? But I thought you might like it because it might connect to one of your joys in life.
All right. Okay.
Okay. How does Paul prepare his coffee? Hebrews.
See, I knew that. I knew that, and I think I've used that joke before, but
What on so what?
maybe like
No.
2 years ago.
Oh well, that yeah. There you go. If someone's heard it, then that means they're committed, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you like that joke, leave a comment. If you've heard
Yeah.
it before, let us know.
Leave a comment. Leave a complaint. There you go. But I got a little bit not annoyed. That's probably the wrong word. But I was looking for a joke, so I typed in biblical jokes.
Mm,
And as I was typing that in, I said biblical jokes, and then sometimes it comes up, it guesses what you're going to ask for.
okay.
So it said biblical jokes, jokes that Christians will find hilarious. Came up, right? That's where it went. So I clicked on it. There's no effort in those jokes at all. They are rubbish.
Yeah, I
They
think
are.
so. Yeah.
They are so Christian,
Yep.
and that makes me. That was like we can be funnier than that, surely.
Yeah. I agree.
But I have to say, when I first, so I clicked on it, but before I'd even entered the site, in my brain, the first thing it said to myself was, "These are going to be really rubbish."
Yeah.
That was my expectation.
Yeah. I
But
think.
I think rather than moan about it, perhaps we should offer an alternative.
Okay.
So we should do that maybe. Create a joke book, me and you.
Okay. I think we'd be the perfect pair.
I'd have to have an editor because I'd have to get rid of the naughty bits.
Oh. Why?
Yeah, that's again, see, why? It needs to be real, doesn't it?
Yeah. Real. Yeah.
Maybe not sweary.
Okay.
Let's not do sweary.
No. We could have an explicit part of the book that's like locked. If you really want to look at the sweary ones, then that's okay.
That used to make me laugh where I don't you're probably too young, but there used to be an event called Roots. Remember Roots?
I've been to Roots. I've seen you at
Oh,
Roots. I saw you perform at Roots, I think.
oh, there you go. And you've seen my roots. Look, they need doing. Sorry, that doesn't work on a podcast, does it? Right. I gestured to my hair needing covering. What was I saying about roots? Oh yeah, it used to make me laugh at roots when they would say about the different venues. You should have the children's venue,
Mm.
youth venue, then the adult venue.
Hmm.
I always think, what goes on in the adult venue?
Yeah, I've never been to the adult venue. I never know.
There, see?
Yeah,
Ooh.
wasn't old enough for the adult venue.
Oh dear. Anyway,
Theme tune. Let's go.
do you want me to sing the theme tune?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I will stop and breathe in your presence. Just breathe. Just breathe.
There you go, I've mimed it. Mimed every word of that.
Yeah, very good. Where do you want to start? A.
Relentless. Even the word relentless feels relentless, doesn't it?
It does.
Goes on for a long time.
Relentless. Yeah, it took me a while to remember how to spell it.
So a lot of S's.
Here it is. Relentless. I felt like a lot of the episodes this month were very deep
Yeah,
and relentless
they were, weren't they?
themselves.
The thing is, when you start to tackle the Book of Job, there's no shortcuts, is there?
No.
You can't just skip to the good bit because
Yeah.
the whole point of the good bit, you can't get to the good bit without all the hideous stuff that
Yeah.
the poor guy had to put up with.
What was it in the first episode? Is boils that he was scratching with the
Oh yeah,
broken clay pot or something.
Oh, and that made me itch just even hearing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I read this, I'd written this down. I think I heard this in a sermon. Yeah, it must have been a sermon because they were in both two things in the same note. I don't know who said this. So whoever said this, thank you very much. Copyright and all that. It talks about God will only lead you into a wilderness when there is a promised land on the other side.
Right, okay.
So it gives you that sense of hope. And again, even the word wilderness feels relentless in itself, doesn't it? But what that brings to mind. And then the other quote in the same bit was, faith precedes understanding. Sometimes conflict brings to the surface what God has put in you. If he leads you into conflict, he's prepared you to triumph. And it struck me that it's such an uncomfortable position to be in when God puts such a, well, for Job, what's the word? Puts him in the way, I guess. He does put him in the way, doesn't he, of great harm and suffering.
Yeah.
And that I quite like that idea that it brings to the surface what God has put in you. And sometimes even it's only in the hideous moments, the painful moments, where you've almost got no choice but to tap into those deep things in your life.
Yeah.
And it brings it to the surface. It's not a nice way for it to happen, but sometimes it's the only way. Yeah, I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, because I guess Job, the whole way through, like even at the start, before he'd been through these things, had great faith and trust in God. But you would never really hear about or see how great Job's faith was if he didn't go through all these things.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be a pretty boring story. If it just said Job's life was great. And
I bet there were moments, though, where Job could say, I just want to have a boring life.
Yeah, definitely. Because I remember reading Job 3 in the sea episode, thinking, goodness me, Job, you like when he's just when he's just wishing he hadn't been through all these things, he hadn't been born, thinking, I'm so glad that I've never been there.
Yeah, it's a real hard moment to listen to that. Must read it a number of times, but then hearing it, don't know, it's really uncomfortable. I found it really uncomfortable anyway.
No, I did reading it as well, yeah. Because I think I touched on it in my episode as well. The kind of level of rock bottom that people have hit, I feel like I'm very blessed to say that I don't think I've ever hit quite the rock bottom that some people have. And I think I struggled to relate, like when Ian was talking about his friend who had hit rock bottom and just said that they wanted to die, I struggled to relate to the person who had been there. But I really related to the friends who felt like the feeling of helplessness, like you really care for those people or that person, but you don't know what to do. And it's like heartbreaking not knowing what to do and not knowing how to help. But does that make sense? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm the same as Ian's friend, but for me, I've kind of battled with chronic depression for a number of years. And I've found ways to cope with it and deal with it. And the word relentless was a word that I felt kind of summed up life for about 2 years for me. And I reached a real dark point. And I was staying at my friend's house. And it was because she'd reached a point where she didn't know what to do. So she had to ask for professional help. And I will always, I appreciate how difficult that was for her. And I will always be thankful she did it. But kind of in the time of recovering from that time, I've been very conscious about the impact on her and, my close friend, because it must be horrible to see, those you're closest to going through that darkness. And again, like hearing Ian's story, I found it really hard to listen to. But he said something about the darkness being really dark.
Like the power cut?
Yeah.
Like a power cut, when the power goes, you can't see what's around, but you know it's there. Like
you know it's
God's
there,
yeah.
But the real darkness is when you don't know that God's there, and it's like a different. I don't know if you like laugh at the conversations you have when the clocks go back and you go out to drive at like 6 o'clock in the evening, and for some reason 6 o'clock in the evening in the winter when it's dark is more dark than midnight in the summer. It's like it's really dark. It's a difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's really disorientating, and makes me feel a bit like vulnerable, and but maybe I don't know if you can include this. But a number of years ago, I used to go to Spring Harvest to help my friend. She's completely blind, been blind from birth. And her and her mates used to go to Spring Harvest. Her mates from college, they were also blind, right? And so I went, and a couple of my other friends went to be their guides around Spring Harvest. And remember the first day, we had to walk them from the venue that they were going to their sessions back to the apartment. I say apartment, it's mine, Ed. You know what I mean. Chalet.
Okay.
Dump. Anyway, sorry about Linz. So yeah, we had that was our job, to guide them.
Mm.
So you did that on the first day. The second day, you had to be slightly behind them, but they knew you were there, but they would make their way back, right?
Right.
And on the third day, you had to go a little bit further back. And I remember so it was the same route that they were doing, and they pick it up really, really quickly, just because, that's what they used to do.
Yeah.
And they were going back this one time, the third time, and we were not allowed to intervene. That was the thing. We had to just let them do it. And as they walked towards their chalet, the sun moved around the building and created a shadow across the building.
Right.
So it went darker for them.
Mm.
And so what it meant was that when it went darker, they veered off to the right.
Right.
But on the right were all these people having their picnics. And we weren't allowed to interject. We had to let them walk. And they were walking through. These people were trying to get out of the way. They were walking through everyone's picnic. We got back to the chalet. And this one guy put his feet up on the table. Big wad of cake on the bottom of his shoe. But we weren't allowed to interject. But I was just thinking, like, for them, particularly my friend, she's blind. She's been blind from birth. So, but even for her, when that shadow came over,
mm-hmm.
it was even more dark. It's like and that just like blew my mind that they could still.
Yeah.
So on a day-to-day basis, she doesn't see any light.
Mm.
It's just completely dark. But when the sun came over, it still created a deeper darkness.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, I digress.
No, I really enjoyed that story.
But there's another moral about that story, isn't there? That classic, you can't have a shadow without there being a presence of light.
Yep.
So that's not always easy to hear when you're in a real dark place.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can kind of cling hold of that,
yeah,
it might be something that gets you through.
Yeah. It reminds me of, there's a phrase that Ian said in the podcast a while ago that my mother-in-law always says. Oh, it's like that thing that Ian says. What did he say, Sam? And I can't remember exactly what it was. But something like, you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can connect them looking back. I think Ian put it with a bit more imagery than that.
But that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. I've got another fun fact.
Yeah?
I might have said this to you already.
Hit me.
About a pirate.
Don't know.
I never told you this. So, like a pirate, a pirate wears a patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not because he's got a wonky eye. The reason they wear it is that when they go below deck, because it's so dark so quickly, they change it to the other eye because the other eye is adapted to the dark.
I think you have told me that, but
I think I have. Have I told you that on the podcast?
I don't know. We'll find out if anybody's
again. You can comment or you can complain. Either way, it's yours for free.
In the sea episode, Ian kind of touched on at the end. Job, he's been through all he's cursed like the day he was born and cursed all these things and he's feeling so down. But he never cursed the one who formed him. He never cursed God. He just...
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it reminds us that there will always be love, and love is like more powerful than anything. I think that's what I took from it. And I think Ian said that in more words than I said it.
Yeah, and you've just said the point. Sometimes you just need to say the point.
Yep.
Clearly.
I'll also add, in that episode, there was sounds from a Good Friday episode that I made, not this year, last year. Sounds of the cross that goes through Jesus' death. You may have heard some of them.
I did hear that. I thought that was, edited.
Some of the hammering.
Yeah.
If you want to go listen to that, it's on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description. Enjoy.
Again, you can comment or complain. That whole bit, I know I said it was really uncomfortable to listen to, where he's saying, you know, curse, so I was born or whatever. I was thinking how hard that would have been for God to listen to as well, because he loved Job so much.
Yeah.
That must be, if you think like of a role of a father when their child is in that amount of pain and hurt. Yeah, it was hard to listen to in my car, but and like you said about, you know, how much Job loved God, and God obviously is love, and it must have been really hard for him to hear that.
Makes me look forward to getting through Job to see what happens at the end, because I don't think I've ever looked at Job in full detail, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's got a positive ending.
Okay.
He's got to go through a bit.
Right, okay. How long is Job? How many chapters is it?
I was going to say, how long is it? He's about 5'8". No, it's not. We've decided it's very short, isn't it? Because he's only got 3 letters in his name.
Yep.
I don't know. Have a look. It's not that long, actually, from what I remember. There's a lot in it for such a short book.
Well, it's 42 chapters long.
Oh, it is. It's longer than I thought. Maybe it's smaller than I thought then. I don't know if I saw this on a plaque or on a tea towel or something. You can handle anything because you have handled everything. I think that's the case for Job. If Job was going to get a tattoo, if there was any room left on him amongst the stars.
Maybe we could cover the scars.
Yeah, cover the stars. Yeah. You can handle anything because you've handled everything.
It took me a little. I had to think about that one. Does it mean like you've handled everything in your life? You've handled it so far.
You've handled the worst.
Yeah.
That's how I took it anyway.
Okay.
But there's something missing in there because clearly you can't handle these things on your own.
Yeah.
Well, you can try, but I don't think you'd survive.
Yeah, I was listening to. I think it was a Tom Hanks thing. Maybe it might have been a podcast with lots of other actors, and he was talking about like one thing how he's now older. He appreciates knowing is that he wish he'd knew earlier, like the tough times that you go through in life. Now he's been through it. It's like the tough times shall pass, and like you go through something bad, and you go this. He says this too shall pass, or like if there's a good thing whilst you're going through it, you think this is the peak, but you know this too shall pass, even if it's good or even if it's bad. And there's always new excitement and new adventures to take on. Enjoy it whilst you can, and remember things might change in the future.
Absolutely. I've got that written all around my flat. This will pass.
This will pass. Nice.
What about your song? You haven't talked about your song much.
My song, well, it kind of links into to everything else, doesn't it? Did anything strike you about that particular episode?
Yes, it did, actually. And I really liked the honesty in it. But also it's tackling something that's still a bit of a taboo, isn't it? Well, I've experienced a bit of stigma around it with mental health and having faith, having depression and having faith. I've constantly been grappling with that thing of, if I've got faith, surely I shouldn't need to be on medication or that malarkey.
Yeah.
But I really liked the fact that it was honest and it was approaching a subject you don't normally get in a song. Yeah,
I think that's what made me want to do the episode on it, I think.
Yeah.
And I think with subjects like that and a lot of other subjects that I find that in church we don't talk about enough, I think part of me was thinking whilst writing it that I said in the episode, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but in doing that we can fall into the trap of not saying anything at all, which is worse than saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think I was coming into it with a heart of, I would like to understand this more and I want to learn more about it and maybe help in some way, but also worrying about saying the wrong thing, and I hope I didn't say the wrong thing. But
no, you did at any point. Because you've come at it from a point of view of wanting to learn.
Yeah.
And that you've done it carefully and you've done it like in a considered way and stuff. So no, you didn't say anything wrong. But actually, I'm not sure what you could have said wrong. Because at least you're saying something. It's a bit like when you have somebody, when you go through grief, somebody dies and people don't talk to you because they're worried about saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
From experience is just be there, just talk about it.
Yeah.
Because in stumbling around not saying anything is worse, I think.
Yeah. Like Job's friends, be there
Yeah.
and listen, even if you don't really know what to
Yeah.
do.
But yeah, I thought it was because do you know? I hope it's not oversharing this, but when they were trying to first work out all my medication, there was somebody in the church. So I was at a point where I was needing to have medication and being referred for therapy, quite specific therapy for this thing. And there was somebody who I respected quite a lot in the church who told me if I was to take my medication, that would mean I lack faith in God to heal me, that I'm putting something human in the way of God doing what he's doing. And what that did is that put doubt in my mind for weeks and weeks and weeks. I really grappled with that.
Yeah.
Turns out I ignored that person. But the doubt that put, and the guilt as well, and the shame from that one person saying that comment, well, it's still stayed with me now, really. But got to be really careful, haven't we, that we don't dismiss people's health and stuff and claim it as being a lack of faith.
Yeah, because like those sorts of comments can sometimes get in the way of God helping. Like, God obviously helps through that medication and has provided something that will help in the end, like doctors now and how operations now, and like you wouldn't say to somebody going through a heart operation that they needed to live, oh, if you go through that operation, it's not trusting, because it's like that. Nobody would ever dream of saying that. So why would you dream of saying it about like mental health or depression or anything like that?
I think sometimes it's fear as well that causes people to say that. Fear of not understanding mental health a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't say to someone having a heart op, well, don't take the anaesthetic because.
Because do you think there's an element of, with things like physical health, like a heart operation, there's an element of we could admit that we don't understand how the operation works, how that helps, or whereas mental health, we feel like we can't admit that we don't understand something, so it's...
Yeah.
But it's okay to not understand?
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know.
The thing about the brain and the mind, it's the engine, isn't it? It's like the motherboard.
Yeah.
And if that goes down, you've got problems, you've got trouble. And I think what we're getting better at is learning that it's not, if someone says, oh, it's just in your head. That's quite a dismissive comment. To say something's just in your head. Well, if it is in your head, there's something seriously...
Yeah.
I mean, there's not something physiological going on. So for me, if part of it is chemicals, the wrong signals are being sent to the wrong part of the brain.
Yeah.
That's a physiological thing that you've got to treat, and you've got to get in and you've got to try and balance it all out. But it's just, it's for something that everybody's got. We're not very good at understanding it.
Yeah.
Wanting to understand it. Because there's that fear, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it's an important thing to make conversations about these things, to make it more normal, make it more, you can learn more about it.
And that's that's the power of that song. It creates conversation, and it creates questions, and
I
really liked it. And so it's all been a little bit uncomfortable. It's felt.
Yeah.
Do you watch Ted Lasso?
Oh, I love Ted Lasso.
Oh, I'm a bit obsessed. What's that quote he says about being uncomfortable? Oh, it's more to do with... So taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse, isn't it? If you're comfortable while you're doing it, you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So it's not meant to be all plain sailing. And I think there should be an added... I don't know if this is sacrilege, but maybe they should put on the end of the Bible, Revelation, Ted Lasso.
The Book of Ted.
Book of Ted. That's what we're missing. See? We were talking about the jokes at the beginning.
Yeah.
Probably not a joke, but we're missing the Book of Ted.
The Book of Ted. Let's write that.
Yeah. My friends would read the Book of Ted. Short again. It's a short name.
Yep.
Wouldn't have to be a long book.
If you're listening to this and would like to see the Book of Ted come soon, then comment
or complain.
Have you got a song for us, Gracie?
I do, yes. And coincidentally, pure coincidence, it's got the same title as the song last month.
Okay.
So I do apologise for that, but
Again,
it is purely... No comment or complaint. I think we should have... every show has a jingle.
Mm-hmm.
We should maybe do that. Comment or complain.
Comment or complain, okay.
Yeah, or a little, what's the word? Strapline.
Little strap line, okay.
Yeah. I was going to say railway line. I knew that wasn't right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So it is coincidence that it's exactly the same title, but come from a slightly different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's another honest song. Asks questions, but still has faith in the one that loves them. It's Even If by Mercy Me.
They say sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And right now I'm losing bad. Stood on this stage night after night, reminding the broken it'll be alright. But right now, I just can't. It's easy to sing when there's nothing to bring me down. But what will I say when I'm held to the flame like I am right now? I know you're able and I know you can see through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. They say it only takes a little faith to move a mountain. Well, good thing, a little faith is all I have right now. God, when you choose to leave mountains unmovable, oh, give me the strength to be able to sing. It is well with my soul. I know you're able and I know you can see through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow and I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. You've been faithful, you've been good all of my days. Jesus, I will cling to you, come what may, 'cause I know you're able, I know you care. I know you're able, and I know you can see through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow, I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. It is well with my soul.